I want to tell you an incredible story about a man who lived at a railway station, literally begging to survive. But this isn't really a story about changing your job or your bank account. It's about the one thing that has the power to change everything else, your mind. So let me just start by asking you this. Is your mindset your greatest asset? Or could it actually be your greatest liability? The story we're about to dive into puts that very idea to the test, and trust me, the answer is way more dramatic than you might think. So our story starts with what's called Bakari Ki's Soch, which translates to the beggar's mindset. Just picture it, a chaotic, bustling train station. You know the vibe, the crowds, the noise, and right in the middle of all of it, we find our main character, a man whose entire reality, his whole world, is built around one single act, begging. And this isn't just about being broke, it's a whole way of seeing the world that's keeping him completely stuck. See, the beggar's world was a one-way street. It was all about taking. And that, of course, just creates dependency. The businessman, on the other hand, well, he operates on a two-way street. It's all about exchanging, which leads to independence. This is the fundamental clash at the heart of our story. And this brings us to Ek Vyapari Se Mulakat, an encounter with a businessman. So, on one totally ordinary day, the beggar's doing his usual thing, and he spots this well-dressed man stepping off a train. He thinks, okay, here's my chance for a good handout. But this meeting was going to be anything but ordinary. In fact, it was the moment that would completely shatter his reality. The businessman looks him right in the eye and says something that just cuts through all the noise. When you can't give anything, you have no right to ask. Whoa, can you imagine hearing that? It wasn't just a no, it was a challenge to his entire existence. The man went on, I'm a businessman. I believe in exchange. If you have something to give me, then I can give you something in return. And just like that, he was gone. This is where we see the power of given, or Dainaki Shakti, come into play. You know those words, they haunted the beggar. They just echoed in his mind for days. He couldn't shake this one thought. Maybe I don't get much because I don't give anything. But what could he possibly give? He was a beggar. He had nothing. The question started to torment him, forcing him to look at his world and at himself in a totally new light. And right then, his transformation began, and you can really see it happen in 4 clear steps. It all started with reflection, really wrestling with what that businessman said. That thinking led to a powerful decision. Okay, I'm not going to just take anymore, I'm going to give something back. This new mindset literally opened his eyes and led to a discovery, these beautiful flowers growing wild right near the station tracks. And finally, he moved from just thinking to doing. He started picking the flowers and offering one to every single person who gave him money. And you know what? Something pretty amazing started to happen. His income doubled. Then it tripled. He was making more money than he ever had before. But, way more importantly, he learned his first real business lesson, the law of supply and demand. As long as he had flowers to offer, as long as he had something of value to trade, the money came in. But the second the flowers ran out for the day, so did the alms. Simple as that. This is where we get to the pehchan ka click, the identity click. This is the big one. Some time goes by, and one day he's on a train, confidently offering his flowers when he sees a familiar face. Yep, it was the same businessman. And this second meeting, believe it or not, turned out to be even more life-changing than the first. Because this time, it wasn't about changing what he did. It was about changing who he believed he was. He walks right up to the businessman and says, "Today, I have something for you," and offers him a flower. The businessman smiles, pays for the flower, and then he says the words that changed everything. Wow, today you too have become a trader like me. Think about that. He didn't see a beggar. He saw an equal, a peer. Trader? Just that one word, it landed with the force of a bomb. It was a label, an identity he had never, not for 1 second, considered for himself. Because all this time, even while he was out there exchanging flowers for money, in his own mind, he was still just a beggar. And then, the realization just hit him like a lightning bolt. The businessman didn't give him charity. He bought his flower. Everyone was buying his flowers. He stumbled off the train at the next stop, totally overwhelmed by this new thought, and just shouted it out loud to the world. I am not a beggar. I am a trader. And this, of course, leads to Badli Hui Zindagi, a transformed life. That single shift in how he saw himself, that was the key that unlocked absolutely everything. From that day on, the beggar was never seen at that station again. His old life, his old identity, it just vanished. And just look at how fast his reality raced to catch up with his new mindset. This change was explosive. On day one, he gets challenged by a businessman. Just a couple of days later, he's taking action, giving flowers. A few weeks after that, the mental breakthrough, the moment he became a trader in his own head. And the result? In just 6 months, that's half a year. He went from begging on a platform to becoming a successful, full-on flower merchant. 6 months later, two men in business suits happened to cross paths at that very same station. One of them recognizes the other. It's them. Our hero explains his whole journey, how the businessman's two comments completely turned his life around. The first one taught him what to do, give value. But the second one, that one taught him who he was, a trader. So, what is Aapki Safalta Ka Sutra, your formula for success, that we can pull from this amazing story? Because it's way more than just a nice little tale. It's basically a blueprint. It's a set of principles that can apply to anyone, anywhere. You, me, anyone. Okay, so the first lesson is the businessman's core philosophy, the law of reciprocity. It's a fundamental rule in nature and in business. You have to give something of value first in order to receive something back. It's that simple. You have to give to get. Our protagonists learn this not as some vague idea, but as a real, powerful, lived experience. And this all boils down to the most powerful takeaway of all. Change your thinking, and you will change your life. The world around you is really just a reflection of how you see yourself on the inside. If you see yourself as small, you're going to act small, and your results will be small. Success isn't something you go out and find. It's something you unlock right here, in your mind. It's hidden in your thoughts, just waiting for you to recognize your own value so you can offer it to the world. So let's end right where we began, with a question. The man in this story completely changed his life by changing the story he told himself. He went from I am a beggar to I am a trader. So the question I have for you is this. What story are you telling yourself about who you are? And is it maybe time to write a new one?